Suzan is 20 years old,
Yeah.
and you talk like with a deepness and maturity. Why do you think that you've come to this understanding?
First of all, my sister has been autistic all her life, of course, and that has been normal to me. So my sister is my sister, and she's been the way she is, and I've never thought anything of it. I really don't try that much when I work with Mulán. I have my own experiences, feeling different and being in school and kids being mean, and seeing my sister and always having to stand up to the bullies.
Hello and welcome to aCTUALLYaUTISTIC with Mulán, Jiang, and Suzan.
Way special guest star! You're our first guest.
Yes.
So who are you?
I'm Suzan, and I work with Mulán, and I've been working with you since last summer, and it's been fun and great.
Yeah, so we have made some episodes about what it's like to work with people with autism, or rather how you should think when you work with people with autism. So we thought it would be cool to actually have somebody with us that is doing just that.
I have a little sister with autism, and I studied to become a social worker. I think you have another type of understanding for the person you work with. You kind of see things that people without the experience don't really see. We have to keep in mind that even though it's the same diagnosis, they are different people. So Mulán and my little sister are very different. It helps that you know about the diagnosis, but you also have to know who are you working with.
I prefer calm people in the sense that they don't get super loud all the time, but I'd prefer if people start like conversations and ideas up themselves and stuff. Because otherwise I'll end up just playing video games.
How is it for you when you meet somebody for the first time, like when you met with Mulán?
Well, I think it's important to make the person comfortable first. So I often start to tell them about myself a little bit. So we create a safe space for the person to talk about themselves if they feel comfortable to. Otherwise, it's a process. You have to get to know the person.
And I think you're really skilled in that, like to listen to what Mulán wants, for instance, and what mood she's in.
I think it's important for us as professionals to ask, because they often know what they want and what they're comfortable with.
A lot of people assume that nonverbal people just can't respond to you, but that's not true. They just can't respond verbally. It's fun watching like YouTube in general with people who are nearby, because I can watch it alone. It's not really that big of a deal, but it's more fun when I get to actually share like reactions with other people and see what they think about the things that I like. Although I tend to avoid that when I have a feeling that they won't like it. So
yeah, because you try to adjust yourself so much to what other people think, Mulán, but they're actually there for your sakes.
I tend to be very quiet and distant because of my trust issues. She shared a lot about herself, like starting out, so I felt less uncomfortable about being near someone when they actually acknowledged that they themselves had issues too. Because up till then, most of the time, I tend to get stuck in a mindset where I think that I'm weird for having issues. So when someone actually like outwardly says that they struggle with something, I tend to get way more comfortable way more quickly.
I think that's very important too. First of all, that we are open and don't judge, because nothing is really weird. It's just people have different interests and spend different amount of time doing it. You, as a social worker or a professional, you have to really see the positive and care, because this is not the type of job when you just do your paperwork and go home.
Maybe that's one of the difficult things with the relationships when you work with people with autism, because for the person with autism, you are you're a guest that comes to our house,
Exactly.
and Mulán wants to have a friend to hang out with, and that can of course help her with things that she can do herself. And maybe when you come and work, you think of it as a job, and then it doesn't really click.
Yeah, I think an exchange is very important, that you both are engaged in the conversations you have.
I don't have the warning bell in my head, so I have to pay attention to everything someone says to me when they first come, because I tend to be way more wary then, because I don't know them. It doesn't necessarily scare me when someone first comes because you're around, but it does exhaust me like afterwards.
Sometimes when I was in therapy, I felt like I was a project for the psychologist to solve. Like, and maybe it's like that for you as well, Mulán, that sometimes you feel like the staff that comes here wants to be very clever, and maybe they want to show me that they can handle the situation, and they want to show me that they are trying really hard.
You have to respect every single individual and their own experiences. And you don't know better than them.
Yeah. It's like that with basically almost every, if not every single diagnosis. Many autistic people will already have like severe trauma from what they've already gone through, to the point where they need social workers. It's very important to be careful with what you do around them. You shouldn't be passive if they are the type of person that needs you to take the first step. But you shouldn't like pester them about things that they might find uncomfortable. Just be observant about what they struggle with.
I think an important thing for us social workers to do is to be very self-aware and know who we are and what we do. So you always have to analyze yourself and learn from every single meeting you have with a person. For example, once we took a walk, and the smells were very overwhelming, and the heat, and you just wanted to go home, and I started to ask a lot of questions, and I was like, she's not answering me, I have to stop. So we went home, turned on the fans, and started talking in like 10 minutes again. So just analyze yourself. Is what I'm doing effective? Why am I doing this? And am I doing this for the person's sake or for my own sake? Do I want answers, or is the person not ready to give you answers? What is the most important thing to consider? Yourself and your wanting to have an answer, or the other person's integrity?
Goodbye and stay safe. See you next time.